I've been wondering about the British. Are they obsessed with their leadership changes? Or maybe it's just because I listen to a lot of talkback. It seems to be the only topic under discussion. There's surely other things to think about and talk about. Well, apparently there's some truth in that observation, but it's a feature of the media rather than British society as a whole. British political discussions, especially on talk radio, political podcasts, newspapers, and Westminster focused TV, is usually obsessed with leadership contests. The reason is that in the UK system, changing the leader of the government can partly change the prime minister without a general election. Leadership speculation therefore forms part of the political sport. Compared to with other countries, in the US, discussion often revolves around the next presidential election because presidents serve fixed terms. So a president cannot really be removed unless impeached. In Australia, leadership spills have historically attracted similar fascination, particularly during the years of Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, Tony Abbott, and Malcolm Turnbull. In Britain, the governing party can replace a prime minister mid-term, so journalists are constantly asking, who is up, who is down, who's plotting against whom? The media also has incentives to focus on personalities rather than politics. It's easier to fill hours of broadcasting discussing whether Starmer would survive than to explain various issues like the NHS reform, productivity growth, energy policies, housing shortage, defense spending, or regional economic development. Therefore, one can say that leadership stories are simple, dramatic, and easy for audiences to follow. However, if you speak to ordinary Britons, many are more concerned with practical issues such as the cost of living, housing affordability, NHS waiting lists, immigration, crime and public safety, wages and pensions. Just for example, a plumber in Manchester, a shopkeeper in Birmingham, or a retiree in Cornwall don't usually spend every day wondering whether Andy Burnham will replace Starmer. They're more likely asking whether they can get a doctor's appointment, afford their mortgage, or pay their energy bill. There's also a deeper issue. Britain has experienced a remarkable amount of political turbulence since 2016. This was the cornerstone of Brexit, the fall of David Cameron, and then there's been the rise and fall of Theresa May, Boris Johnson, and Liz Truss's famous short stay in 10 Downing Street, and then the arrival of Starmer after that. After so many leadership changes in a decade, the public and media have become conditioned to view politics through the lens of personalities rather than long-term policy outcomes. From my perspective as somebody who's lived in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Australia, and worked in the mining industry, the British debate can sometimes seem odd and very narrow. A mining engineer might ask, what is Britain's industrial strategy? How will it generate wealth? How will it improve productivity? Yet much of the media discussion becomes who will be the next leader? Wow. So my impression is not entirely wrong. Britain is not uniquely obsessed with leadership changes, but its media ecosystem treats politics as a continuous leadership contest, sometimes at the expense of the deeper discussions about the country's long-term economic and social challenges. It is also unclear whether replacing one prime minister with another actually ends up resolving any of the long-term issues that face the country. Therefore, I stand to note that the replacement of Sir Keir Starmer with Andy Burnham will not likely achieve much progress in those areas, and may, in fact, depending on how Andy Burnham is replaced, may lead to more contentious issues in the short term, and right-wing media backlash against him with a view to replacing him as well, which becomes an ongoing cycle. I stand to be corrected, and we'll wait and see, or take the next few weeks and months as to how Andy Burnham pursues this issue, if he does, and how Starmer responds to it.